Blake Lively, after a 5-year hiatus, has returned to acting with a massive hit, but now it's all being taken from her where she's being called a liar by Justin Baldoni. For Blake Lively, her career started when she was 11 years old doing the movie Sandman, which was directed by her dad, Ernie Lively, who's a TV actor known for doing shows like Turner and Hooch and The X-Files. Blake Lively definitely comes from a Hollywood family where Ernie Lively got all 5 of his kids into acting, with one notable example being Robin Lively, who's her older half-sister who did Karate Kid 3 as well as Twin Peaks. The Lively siblings just didn't have much success outside of Blake, with Eric Lively doing The L Word, Lori Lively doing some failed movies in the 90s, and Jason Lively doing failed horror movies. Blake Lively definitely had some bumps starting her career out, where she was the original pick to play Karen in Mean Girls before Amanda Seyfried was. But the way that worked being Blake Lively was cast to play Karen in Mean Girls the same week that Lindsay Lohan and Lacey Chabert were cast as well. But they didn't have their Regina George yet, so Amanda Seyfried actually auditioned for that part when she was just 18. Amanda Seyfried didn't get Regina George and Rachel McAdams did, but the problem was Rachel McAdams didn't want to play Regina and Lindsay Lohan actually didn't want to play the character of Katie. With the reason being that Rachel didn't want to play a side character and Lindsay didn't want to play the good girl, so Tina Fey redid the script to give Rachel McAdams more screen time as Regina and also to have Lindsay Lohan's character be a little more evil. But because of that, they retooled the character of Karen, so they decided to fire Blake Lively and instead bring in Amanda Seyfried to do the role instead. That was a big blow for Lively's career, where she only had one movie prior, which was an indie movie for her dad, and Mean Girls was a huge hit, making $130 million on a budget of $18 million. Blake Lively had another big rejection after that, where she was turned down for Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. Blake Lively ended up getting that part after the studio's first pick, Olivia Wilde, couldn't do it because she was signed to do the show The OC. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was actually a failure when it came out, where it needed $55 million to break even, but it only made $42 million on a budget of $25 million. The movie ended up becoming popular after it left theaters, selling 2 million copies on DVD and also being popular in TV syndication, which prompted the studio to do a sequel with Blake Lively and the rest of the cast. And because of that success, it got Blake Lively cast in Gossip Girl, which was also a huge hit, going for 121 episodes, where she was paid $60,000 per episode, making $7.3 million doing the show. But making Gossip Girl, there was a lot of on-set drama, with one example being Blake Lively and Leland Meester, who couldn't stand each other, and the staff actually made it so they weren't in the same room together at any given time besides acting. Blake Lively also had issues with the always controversy-free Armie Hammer, where after 4 episodes, Armie Hammer left the show suddenly, with it being reported Blake Lively just didn't like working with him. Still, due to Gossip Girl, Blake Lively kept on getting more and more work, with one example being Green Lantern, which was a huge failure, making $237 million on a budget of $200 million, meaning it lost $75 million. Right before filming Green Lantern, Blake Lively had a breakup with Leonardo DiCaprio, where the two dated in 2011, and they broke up right before she turned 25. When making Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds was still married to Scarlett Johansson, where the two were described as having a happy relationship together. But right after Green Lantern finished filming, Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson got divorced, with many people believing the reason was Ryan Reynolds cheated on her with Blake Lively while filming Green Lantern. And that's never been confirmed or denied by Scarlett Johansson or Ryan Reynolds, but what did happen was some controversy a year later when Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively got married and did so on a slave plantation. Besides that initial hiccup, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have had a clean marriage for the last 11 years, having 4 kids together, and Blake Lively took a 5-year break from acting to focus on building business and also being a mom. That changed in 2022 when it was announced Blake Lively would star in the movie It Ends With Us, which was a popular book written by Colleen Hoover, which sold 8 million copies in a period of 4 years. The person contracted to play the male lead in the movie and also direct it was Justin Baldoni, who just had a huge hit directing the Cole Sprouse movie 5 Feet Apart, which made $93 million on a budget of $7 million. There was some controversy casting Blake Lively in the lead for the role because she was 36 years old when the movie was filmed and she was playing a 23-year-old girl. Still, despite that complaint, It Ends With Us was a massive success, making $351 million on a budget of $25 million, being a hit just like the book was. Many people started to notice something was weird with the premiere, with one example being Bethany Frankel, who said she walked out of the premiere because it was so awkward, feeling a massive tension with different parts of the cast. The press caught wind of this also, where they noticed Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni didn't take any photos together during the premiere and weren't doing any marketing or interviews together as well. There's 2 sides to this story. The first we'll discuss being Blake Lively, where she's accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment as well as mistreatment on set. The first claim that Blake Lively is making is Justin Baldoni was unhappy with her 4th pregnancy, worried that she'll gain too much weight for the movie. Blake Lively said Justin Baldoni kept on texting and calling her, pressuring to lose weight, and even without her permission called her personal trainer and said she needs to lose 20 pounds in a period of 3 weeks. Blake Lively also accused Justin Baldoni of always trying to interrupt her when she was in her trailer alone trying to breastfeed her child without her permission. She also accused Justin Baldoni of having a huge addiction to adult videos, where he'd regularly talk to her and the rest of the cast about them and even show them to them while they were working. Blake Lively also accused Justin Baldoni of issues while filming, saying that he'd engage in unscripted kisses and also would try to feel her body when they were making out for the movie. Blake Lively thought there was a moment Justin Baldoni was going to try to sleep with her because she was wearing a onesie and he asked her to take off her jacket while they were alone together and kept saying she looked sexy. Because of this, the production of It Ends With Us froze, where Blake Lively left the set and not agreeing to return until Justin Baldoni signed a contract saying he wouldn't talk about adult videos, wouldn't talk about her weight, and wouldn't be with her unless they were with another person. Justin Baldoni fired back, saying the only reason he asked about the weight was because he had to pick her up for a scene and does have back problems, but Blake Lively responded to that, saying there was no scene where he had to pick her up in the original screenplay. Justin Baldoni did end up signing Blake Lively's contract, and the movie was a huge hit, but because of the disaster of the premiere, Justin Baldoni decided to hire a PR firm to help him destroy Blake Lively. The person Justin Baldoni hired was Scooter Braun, who is Justin Bieber's former manager, who owns a PR firm called the Agency Group. Just to show the power of Scooter Braun, he actually bought the rights to most of Taylor Swift's music, which led to Taylor Swift publicly calling him out, saying that she wanted to buy the rights instead. And because of that, Taylor Swift accused Scooter Braun of leading a public attack on her through a PR slander and also unleashing Kanye West on her. Blake Lively has accused Justin Baldoni of hiring Scooter Braun to lead a smear campaign against her, with the biggest example being a resurfaced interview from 2016 where Blake Lively was being very rude to a reporter. But the interview was supposed to be Blake Lively and Parker Posey talking about their movie Cafe Society, but it ended up with them ignoring all the reporters' questions and just being very rude. And one moment from that interview to go viral recently was Blake Lively being congratulated on her little bump because she was pregnant during the interview. Blake Lively had a very rude response to that, congratulating the reporter on her response even though the reporter wasn't pregnant and also not capable of getting pregnant. Blake Lively was also called out of touch because during the filming of It Ends With Us, she had her kids run around trying to raise money for their school's charity, which many people in the crew thought was unfair because she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and they were nearly broke. Justin Baldoni also worked on his own PR campaign claiming he was a victim of sexual assault when he was 21 years old, saying he tried to stay a virgin but his girlfriend at the time got him drunk and took advantage of him. There also have been texts produced from a member of Scooter Braun's PR team with the claims being that they destroyed Blake Lively and they were bragging they saved Justin Baldoni. Still, many people have questioned if those texts are real because they were produced by a civil subpoena, but many people believe Blake Lively's team might have made them up or they weren't talking about the whole situation. Now there's Justin Baldoni's complaints against Blake Lively, and he's saying that everything she's accusing him of is a total lie and she's actually impossible to work with. With Justin Baldoni producing texts with members of the It Ends With Us team complaining about Blake Lively saying she was impossible to work with and put strict rules saying they weren't allowed to look at her on set. Justin Baldoni's making the claim that Blake Lively is just bitter because he refused to make her producer in the movie and listen to more of her ideas because she was trying to take control over everything. Justin Baldoni also called out Ryan Reynolds, saying the character of Nice Pool was supposed to be some sort of parody of him during the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, but that doesn't make any sense because that script was written before this scandal even happened. Justin Baldoni is also now suing Blake Lively for $250 million in a defamation case, saying he's lost all work in Hollywood, lost his agency, and he's not going to see any work for the foreseeable future because of her. And at this point, the public does have very mixed feelings, where most people believe that both Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively are terrible people, but it looks like slightly more people are siding with Blake Lively. It does look like both actors definitely damaged their career from this movie, which if they managed to work well together, they both would have made over $20 million on the sequel. But with that, I'm Charles Pearl. Please subscribe to learn something.